Good news! The snow is gone! Bad news! There's a suspicious eyeball watching my every existing second. Also, I discovered something pretty wild, so hold on to your follicles or follicle equivalent. I'm in space. Or at least what I perceive to be space. I haven't seen the sun or the moon in at least, well, I don't know. I usually know that it has been at least a day when I've seen both. It's been I feel like it has been a while since I have seen either the sun or the moon. Then again, time loses its relevance when there's no one around to hold you accountable for it. Or when things only happen during broad periods of time. Like how birds usually are more active during the day and not as active in the night. Depending on the bird, of course. But there is a difference. Because there is no day or night now. It's just this. And I think it's space. Want to know how I came to this conclusion? This deduction, if you will? My cave has a periodic window. Finally, I can peep outside. And then it's all the same stuff to see. I shouldn't be too rough on the stars. It's not their fault that I'm in this position. Unless this was the sun's plan to get rid of me. Now I'm keeping that one in the back of my head, just in case. It wouldn't change my situation in any way, shape, or form, but it's more about the satisfaction of being right and spite. The spite that I hold for the sun. But back to my quantum window. I think it's quite rude for a window to just appear in my residence. My residence? It feels off. It's not quite the vibe. It's not the feeling. Home? No. That one is a little bit of a stretch, I think. Jail? I can see that one a little bit more, but I've been growing attached to wherever I am. So I wouldn't see it as a jail. And just like I said in a previous rant, I'm as free as I make myself, or allow myself to be, within my constraints, of course. But a house? I don't think the cave is much of a house, or suitable for living. Then again, I make do, but I usually don't have much that I need to take care of. Good for not having to clean, though. I'd put it more as a place of living for now. I don't really know what I think of my previous living situation. So I don't know what I think about my situation that is happening currently in this time of happening. I lived there, yes. But it's just weird. Though I would say that it was my cave. It's a weird feeling to have when you're not really attached to your place of residence, but you also don't want anyone else being there, or at least not without you allowing it. There was a time where I wanted to hate it since I couldn't get out of the cave, but I figured that my situation wasn't the cave's fault either. And like I said about the clouds in the previous rant, I can't blame something for just existing, I guess. But out of most caves, I feel like my cave is a great cave. It could have been worse. Like, for example, if my case was actually a mouth and I'd be laying on some tongue growth, that'd be pretty bad. I don't really fancy living in a mouth, depending on the situation, of course. I feel like there's a symbiotic relationship that could be happening on a tongue, and maybe it would be very comfortable. I'd also think I'd like the feeling of the tongue just moving around while the creature does its living things, and I just do my living things. But I wonder if it feels ticklish. Like it was trying to huff and puff, and I just feel both the breeze and the tongue forming in other shapes. That's kind of interesting. Maybe I do want to live on a tongue. Though I also wonder if I'd get digested by the mouth juices, or if I'd regrow fast enough to offset the damage. It would be funny to bother a creature purely by existing, but I would maybe have someone to talk to, which would also be nice. Then again, I'd feel like the creature would also think it was going insane, having a voice coming from its mouth area. But maybe that's for another me to find out. Or another terrible place would be spawning at the bottom of the ocean. Ugh. I don't think I would manage. I do like my water, but living in that deep, I feel like I'd either be really paranoid or living in constant fear. I wouldn't mind living somewhere near the shore though, or at least a place where the light touches. It sounds calming and comforting in a way. Just watching the sea do its thing while the creatures do its own thing and just exist there. Like a bigger version of the rain filling up my cave and me just swinging into the whims of the waves. One of my biggest dreams is to live in a conch or conch equivalent. One where the light can shine through the shell. I feel like it'd be really cozy. An air pocket and some water at the entrance, and voila, home. My only fear would be a greedy hermit crab. But who knows? Maybe we'd get along swimmingly. See what I did there? Please forget it. I do feel like this is somewhat of a new start, or at least the end of a chapter. There is only one thing bothering me. It's a new happening, yes, but I'm still just here. It somewhat feels like nothing really changed, but I'm sure that will come later. Hopefully. I wonder if I'd be feeling homesick should this have happened on a different location rather than my cave. Right now I couldn't fathom missing it, but isn't that funny? I can also not fathom leaving it. The action of actively leaving is so much scarier than having left. That's what I think. One is about choosing to leave, while the other is accepting that this is your reality now. It's like having to cross a cliff. If I walk forward, I fall. But once I'm past, if I move forward, I walk. If I move backwards, I fall. If this was a true thing, it'd be horrible for me. I think I'd be paying so much attention to not walk forward that I accidentally walk backwards after making it. I think on my way down, I'd be blaming myself and calling myself an idiot, but I would also be laughing my ass off. Since it would be such a me thing to do. Like, I know you were plotting your own downfall. Why'd you walk back, you idiot? And then I'd reply, oops. And then I'd say, we had a good one, didn't we? And I'd reply, It was pretty solid indeed. While savoring my last moments as I'm falling down my doom. I won't lie, that sounds kind of peaceful. But not before I figure out where I am. I also want to think more about my home cave thing. I have grown to be okay with being here, but I wouldn't say that I like being here. Maybe if I were to be able to decorate it with stuff I like. Then again, I haven't experienced that much and I can't clone myself. I'd love to go somewhere, but at the same time, I don't fancy leaving. There are amazing times in this cave, but also terrible times. In a way, I think I see this place as a cocoon. I have to break through to go to my actual home. Now I only have to figure out how to break said cocoon. What I also find interesting is that only this spot feels somewhat like what I imagine home to feel like. The surrounding space of where I am just kind of feels like it's the cave's territory. While this spot and maybe the window that is now an eye felt like my spaces. For me. Though, since the eye is there, I assume that it's the space of the beholder. I like that name. I might call the eye the beholder from now on. Oh. Oh no. It's kind of scary. Names have a purpose now. Before there wasn't any consistency, but now there's something other than me. Does that mean that I need a name too now? I don't know. It's not like the beholder can talk, or at least it hasn't shown any signs of wanting to communicate, other than staring at me. But I feel like it's the way it looks is in a curious sense rather than a I want to fill your hearicles with my words. But you know what? After this rant, I kind of feel closer to the cave. As I don't see it as a home, but more as a resting place, where I make my start on towards finding my home.